Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And today I'm going to show you how I made a fun card with some new products. So of course, you know, I got my pre-order in last week. And of course, I couldn't wait to dig right in and start playing with some new goodies. So I am here to show you how I made a card with the Trees for Sale stamp set and the Tree Lot dies. Now this is it's not technically bundled together in the catalog. This is actually, the Trees for Sale stamp set is actually available in the upcoming July to December 2022 mini catalog. So this is a stamp set that's for sale and it's really cute. Love the little images, love the little dog and the paw prints, and it's got a cute little trees for sale, little tree lot sign. It's got the little hanging lights, a little pole to hang the lights on. So it's a really, really cute set. Hey Carol, thanks for joining today. I appreciate you being here. So, all right, I don't know if any other comments have come through because it's saying there are more comments, but I can't see them. So anyway, hopefully Facebook isn't causing trouble today. So this is a cute photopolymer stamp set that is available in the upcoming mini catalog. Everything that I'm showing you today, well, the products, most of the products I'm showing you today will be available in the mini catalog starting on July 1st for customers to order. It's available on a demonstrator pre-order now, so this is a great time to join as a demonstrator if you're not yet. Hey, Barbara and Dawn and Debs, thanks. Glad you're here and catching me live. So if you're not a demonstrator yet, now is a really good month to join because you actually can add items from the upcoming catalog as part of your starter kit, and then everything you buy as a demonstrator after that you get at least a 20% discount on, so it's a good deal. Anyway, just getting a little discount on all the stuff that you love. Anyway, so let me know if you have questions about that. I'd be happy to have you come join and get your hands on this product a little early too. So again, this is the stamp set that we're going to be using today, and it coordinates with a bundle, a die set, I should say, from the Celebration brochure. So Celebration will start July 1st and run through the end of August. And this really awesome die set coordinates with the really cute stamp set that is in the catalog. So the stamp set is going to stick around for the entire time of the catalog. The die set will only be available during Celebration. And it's awesome. I mean, who doesn't love an RV? And little trees and the little dog. So you've got all the images that you can cut out, the trees and the dog and the little sign here all have dies. But then there are accessory pieces. There's the little RV. And this is actually accessory pieces for the RV. And I'll show you in a minute how that die works, because before I cut it the first time, I'm like, is this a hat for the RV? What in the world is this? But I'll show you in a minute how that works. There's a little banner die, and then there's some kind of more detailed tree dies. There's a little curtain, which I used in here, a little curtain for the RV. There's a wreath. I mean, it's just a really cute set. Oh, and this one, I didn't want to forget to say that. We have a little Charlie Brown tree. So we've got the little tree stand and the Charlie Brown tree, and then there's some little ornaments somewhere in here. There's a star. I thought there were little ornaments. Maybe I'm missing them. Anyway, so you can hang the little star on the tree. And anyway, it's a really cute die set. So hey, Karen. All right, so let me set that aside. A couple other things I used on here. I didn't make this obviously as a Christmas card, which you can see very clearly. I made it as kind of a more, I don't know, summery card to me. This is more summer. And I used the Adventure Awaits sentiment from the Let's Set Sail stamp set. This one is in the current mini catalog, and it's carrying over into the annual catalog, so it's going to be here for a while as well. So this one is already available to purchase. So if you don't have it, get it. And it coordinates with a punch, a sailboat punch. But again, I didn't use that today just because, you know, I was going with the RV look and not the sailboat look. So hey, Danette, glad you're here. And Penny and Barbara, thanks for joining. A couple other things that I used one of my favorite die sets ever. Well, they're all my favorite ever, but this one I really used a ton. This is the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used this little banner die to cut out the sentiment. And then, of course, my other favorite all-time die set, I used the stitched rectangle dies to cut out the background panel on here. So I used the third from the largest one to cut out the background. So I think that's all for dies and such, and stuff that I used. Okay, so let me set this aside and tell you about a couple of things, and then we'll get going on the card project. So Stampin' Up! Has a buy one, get one 50% off on all of their kits collection kits. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining from Holly Springs, Georgia. I used to live not so far from there. All right, so we've got buy one, get one for 50% off of all of the kits in Stampin' Up's kits collection. These are totally separate from the Paper Pumpkin kits. Paper Pumpkin is a whole different thing. The kits collection is available for anybody to order, so you can get one, buy one, get one 50% off, and the added bonus, the more expensive of the two kits is the one you get for 50% off, which doesn't ever happen on a 50% off sale. Hey Akiko, thanks for hopping in. The last chance product sale for January to June 2022 mini catalog is going on right now, so make sure that you hop over to the online store, pick up any of those retiring items that you're wanting. They're only available while supplies last, and that includes the stamp sets this time around. So all of these items will be going away. Anything on the retiring list will be going away June 30th, so make sure you're getting those items ordered as well. And then last thing, I just announced this today on my blog. If you head over to stampwithamyk.com, you will find the details. I'm offering a designer series paper share from the upcoming mini catalog. So you're going to get a sampling of all of the new designer series papers in the catalog. The details are all posted on my blog. It lists out exactly which of the designer papers are going to be included, and the sizes and all that sort of thing. So all of that is included out on my blog today. So go check it out, stampwithamyk.com. And I should link it up too in my campsite. Hopefully I'll get that done. I'll remember to do that today. So, okay. So let's get going on the card. All right, we're starting with a Starry Sky card base. So this one is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. This will also work on your standard book fold card, which is your 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. So whatever your preferred card base is the one that you can use. I just tend to prefer the top fold cards. Again, that's just my personal thing. So everybody has their own way that they like to make cards. So some of you may not agree with me and want to use the other card fold, and you can certainly do that. I'm using a little multi-purpose liquid glue, and this is paper, which I love both sides of this one, so it's hard for me to pick which one I'm going to glue down. But this is Starry Sky. Ooh, almost dunked that right in the glue. Starry Sky Designer Series paper from the new 2022 to 2024 in color 6x6 Designer Series paper packs. So they are available now in the current annual catalog, and I use liquid glue normally because, as you just saw, I tend to make a mess with liquid glue. I don't usually use it, but when I'm gluing things like this down where it's covering an entire card front and I want to make sure that I get it on straight, this gives me a little wiggle room before it's stuck down forever. So I did use liquid glue on that. Hey Mitzi, thanks for hopping in. Glad you're here. Next thing that I did is I took a piece of basic white cardstock and I cut it again with the third largest of the stitched rectangles dies. And then I've got some blending brushes, and Tahitian Tide is what we're going to start with. And I'm just going to use a little, brush it across the top of the Tahitian Tide ink pad, do a little brush over on the side to make sure I don't have a big glob. And then we're just going to come to the basic white cardstock and start adding a little bit of Tahitian Tide ink to it. Tahitian Tide is a little bit darker, so it doesn't take too long to get a good, I don't know, it doesn't need to be solid or perfect by any stretch, but it doesn't take too long or too many swipes across to get a good solid inking on it. Again, if you prefer a darker, you can certainly continue to layer on the ink with the blending brush. I wanted it to be a little bit lighter on this one and look a little bit more kind of like a daytime scene. But if you wanted nighttime, you can definitely use Starry Sky, Night of Navy, one of those inks, and add a little darker shade of blue to the background if that's the look that you're going for. Hey, Lori, glad you're joining today live. And then on the bottom part of it, I used soft suede, and again, just another blending brush. And same thing here, I'm just going to do some swishes across the ink pad and then come over, do a little test over here to make sure I don't have any dark globs, and then come out to my project. And again, soft suede is one of those that's a little bit darker, and it applies the ink pretty, not heavily is probably not the right word, but it's a little darker. If you use Chrome Cake or Sahara Sand or something like that, it may take you a few more swirls across the paper to get it as dark as you want it. And again, I didn't want the background inking to be like the star of the show on this one. I just wanted a little color on it, so I didn't spend a lot of time making it really dark or any particular thing about it. So I did some of these ahead of time. I stamped a couple of trees and die cut them. So I've got 2 of each done, and I'm going to show you that we're going to stamp 1 of each because again it's the same process for all of the little trees here. So I have got, this is the tallest of the trees, and I've got Parapizzazz ink that we are going to ink. This is a more detailed image. So I'm going to ink the detailed image first. When I have these 2-step stamps, I find them personally easier to use the more detailed image first. and then come back in with the larger, more solid image. And again, that same ink pad, Pear Pizzazz. Whoop, try to get it evenly inked though. And then when I do it this way around, as opposed to trying to stamp it with the solid image first and then the detailed one, this lets me line it up, I feel like, a little bit easier. I can see through the stamp and I can see what I'm doing, and usually I get a better image that way around. So that is why I prefer to do the inking that way. If it works better for you the other way around, you can certainly do it the other way around. But again, that's just how I prefer to do it, because I find that it works better for me that way. So I've got Old Olive ink for the smaller tree. And again, I'm going to stamp the more detailed one. And then we're going to come back in with the more solid tree. And again, same thing where I'm just going to line it up. Whoop, did I put that wrong one? I grabbed the wrong one. Eek, sorry, almost did that way wrong. That would have not been good. So, all right, this is the one that I meant to grab, is the littler tree, not the bigger of the littler trees. So there's a large tree, a medium tree, and a small tree. And I happened to grab the medium tree by accident there and was getting ready to ink that and stamp it over the top, which would have not been the look I was going for. All right, so we've got the Old Olive tree stamped, and then the final one is Garden Green. And again, same process. So like the detail stamp by itself, you could definitely do that. So hey, Sherry, thanks for joining. Carol, it is a cute tree set. So all right, so then I've got the more detailed of the medium-sized tree and Garden Green ink. And then I'm going to do a couple more stamps over here in hopes that I shouldn't contaminate it too much. But again, Garden Green ink is what I want to stamp the more medium-sized tree in. And again, it's not too difficult to line these up, she says before she stamps. But it's easier when you don't have a camera in between you and what you're stamping. But even with a camera in between me and what I was stamping, I still got them stamped reasonably straight on there. All right, so we've got those, and then we have got our tree lot dies. So I'm going to grab the dies, and we're just going to do some die cutting. And again, all the dies fit around the trees perfectly, whether I've shown you that or not. So they all fit around here. I'm going to be off screen for a second doing the die cutting. So hopefully you are enjoying your Tuesday. It's a beautiful day here so far in New Jersey. So nice weather, not too hot, not too cold, about perfect for me. All right, give me 1 second, just lining things up and making sure that hopefully I get everything on here straight and cut reasonably straight. All right, let me put the dies back on my die sheet. All right, and we've got our 3 little trees cut and ready to go on the background. So here we are, the panel that I've already done my blending with, adding the shading, I guess I should say, with. I've got some glue dots here, and I may have an extra tree or two, just depending on how I end up laying these out. And obviously, it's going to end up looking just a little bit different every time you do one, because well, I don't get them all stuck on exactly in the same place and exactly the same way that I had the previous card. So I just kind of put them on here, adding the little trees here and there. Again, just using little glue dots. If you prefer liquid glue, you can definitely do that. The only thing that I will say is if you're going to use liquid glue or some other sort of adhesive, try not to go all the way out to the edges with it. At least for when I put these types of scenes together, I like to be able to wiggle something underneath a layer, just like I did right there. So again, depending on how you stamp and how your projects come together, you may not need to do that, but sometimes I do. So I usually try to leave it so that I've got a little bit of wiggle room around the edges, just in case I need to be able to tuck something underneath, like I did just there. All right, we're going to stick this little tree down here, and then we're going to take one of the little old olive trees and we'll stick that right next to it. Whoop, maybe. Come on, glue dots, let go. All right, so we'll stick that one on, and then we'll take the bigger tree and stick that one on. So, whoop, there we go. And again, I'm kind of trying to scoot these down and create sort of a layered look with the trees. Maybe I should go up just a hair on that one. All right. And then we'll put the final little tree on here. We'll use another one of the old olive trees. And I'm going to tuck that here back behind so that we get a little differentiation between the two pear pizzazz trees, that there's a little different color in between them. All right, so that is our background. So we've got our trees on the back done. Now comes the fun part, the RV. So I did the die cutting ahead of time on this because it's kind of boring to sit and watch. This is all pretty basic die cutting, just running it through the die cutting machine over and over again. So let me grab the dies and I'll show you the pieces that I used here. And of course I've got now tree dies stuck all over everything in all sorts of crazy ways. There we go. Okay, so again, these are the tree lot dies and they're going to be available as a celebration item, a $100 level item, starting on July 1st. So if you order $100 worth of product, you can get these dies for free from Stampin' Up, which is a great deal. So this one, the larger RV die, is obviously the one that I used to cut out my Sweet Sorbet RV. And I also use that to cut out the windows. So I, again, just cut a panel of soft or So Saffron cardstock with that same die. And then I also cut the wheel out, or just kind of the back end of the RV out, from basic black cardstock. So those are the cardstocks that I used. And then this die cut is actually from brushed metallic cardstock, and it's kind of the medium gold look. And this is the die that you use for that. So again, when I looked at that initially, I'm like, what in the world is that? And then I cut it and realized it's actually two pieces and not one solid piece. I thought it looked like a hat. And I'm like, how does that work on the RV? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because it sticks along the edges of the RV. So I'll show you in one second how that works. So for the little wheel die, again, I just took basic black cardstock and cut it. And I'm just gonna use my fantastic fussy cutting skills, which as you can see, I have none, and just trim off the wheel and grab my liquid glue and try not to glob on too much of the liquid glue. Just a little bit is all it takes. Otherwise it scooches out everywhere and then you have a huge mess. All right, so there we go. So again, this is brushed metallic cardstock that I used for this piece. And the brushed metallic has kind of a slick back on it, so it doesn't absorb the glue as well as cardstock will. So I really try to be light-handed with the multi-purpose liquid glue when I'm using it to adhere down the little brushed metallic cardstock. Just because, again, it really oozes out if you put too much on at all. So, all right, so again, gonna do the same thing over here and put a tiny little bit over there. Let me close this up and get it out of the way. There we go. We'll just lay that down right over the top, scooch it over just a hair, and then hold it for a second so that the glue will hopefully dry before I slide it around again. And that's the basics of the RV. I do have a couple little pieces here. Again, the window that I cut, and I forgot to show you this. This is the little cute curtain, which there's a curtain die. I'll show you which one that is. Here in the tree lot dies. The curtain die is, of course, it's upside down here, but it's this little one right here, and it fits perfectly in the window. And I'm actually going to hold off on doing that until I stick this to the card front, and then we'll add in the little window pieces, and I'll show you how I did that. So I've got my snipped up Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're just going to use a couple of those to adhere this to the card front. Hey Bree, thanks for hopping in today. Glad you're joining us. Yeah, I'll stick one here. And I already forgot, I can see I forgot my mini Stampin' Dimensionals, which, because I really never use them, but I did on this card. So then I just took it and stuck it straight to the card front. And again, just tried to get it so that the bottoms of the trees weren't peeking out down underneath here. And stuck it down. And then I'm going to take Stampin' Dimensionals and I'm going to tuck them in here. So I'm going to take two of the little half Stampin' Dimensionals. Whoop, pick the top off that one already. And tuck it in here for the window. And then the little window die cut will fit, or should fit perfectly, I should say will fit, should fit perfectly inside there. And again, that's So Saffron cardstock. Let me grab my mini dimensionals. Hold on one second. Try not to crash into everything. The little mini Stampin' Dimensionals, I will admit, did fit perfectly inside the window. So as much as I grumble about them, they do have their use for me, just not always, I just don't always use them because I like the half ones better. All right, so there we go. Put the little round window inside as well. All right, there's my little die cut curtain. So I do need a pair of tweezers because I have big fat fingers, as you can see, and chubby little hands, and trying to adhere this little tiny piece of the curtain on, I definitely need my tweezers to do that. So got a little bit of liquid glue, and again, I'm going to try to go really lightly on that, so hopefully I won't glue my fingers to the paper when I go to stick this down. But it fits perfectly in here in the little window. Just like that. So now you've got a little curtain in the window. I mean, how cute is the die set? So I'm hoping I'm not the only one who's like, oh. Anyhow, all right. So enough about that. So I'm going to take this and adhere it to the card front with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And it looks like I'm going to need to cut another row of these. So I'll show you. I just take my snips and I chop right down the center of the row and cut them in half. And they don't have to be perfectly straight or really neatly cut. Whoop. Wrong thing. So that's how I get my half Stampin' Dimensionals. All right, there we go, sticking all that down. Grabbing the backs off these, which is probably what takes the longest in this project. So, all right, we'll take that. Let me scooch this over just a little bit. And then hopefully we will get this centered and straight, which is always a little challenging. There we go. And then we're going to do a little stamping for the sentiment, and we're actually almost done with the card front. So I've got the Adventure Awaits stamp from the Let's Set Sail stamp set, and I've got Starry Sky ink, and we're going to stamp this on Tahitian Tide cardstock. Oh, I'm glad you all are liking it too. Like I said, I just think it's the cutest little die set ever. So I love all the little pieces in it. And then I'm going to grab my, here they are. Stylish Shapes dies. I've got the little kind of, I don't know, it's medium-sized banner die, and we're just going to take that and we'll put it around our sentiment, and I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine, so hold on, I'll be off screen for a second. All right, whoop, banging on the table and everything. Just what I try not to do. All right, so we've got our die cut sentiment. We're just going to add a couple Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of that, and we'll be done with the card front. On the Stampin' Dimensionals, I'm kind of putting them down on the lower part of the sentiment, just because I'm going to be layering it a little bit over the RV. The wheel is going to be there, and depending on how it all lands on the card front, I may have to maneuver it around just a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't put the dimensionals in a spot where they would interfere with the RV and have strange lumps and things in them, because nobody wants a lumpy sentiment. All right, so there we go. Got the card front put together. And like I said, how cute is that little RV? I just love it. On the inside of the card, I kept it pretty simple. Just have got basic white cardstock and a little leftover piece that I trimmed off when I made the card front. So this is about, I don't know, 5/8 of an inch or so. And again, it's the Starry Sky Designer Series paper from the 2022 to 2024 in color 6" by 6" Designer Series paper pack. And just going to adhere that on and hopefully get it on here straight and covering the whole basic weight, which I think I've got it. And then I'm going to snip off the little overhang here with my paper snips. And we're going to adhere it to the inside of the card. If I would stop putting the lid on this, it would work a little bit better. So one other thing I did want to let you know about, on Friday, Stampin' Up! Let us know that the magnetic platform or magnetic plate is actually going to be turned off for a little bit. They are having some quality issues with it. So just wanted to let you know that plate is going to be turned off for the foreseeable future. Hopefully it will be back new and improved, but just didn't want you to be surprised if you weren't able to order that. So, all right. There we go. That's it. So it's a fun little stamp set, fun set of dies. And again, all this will be available starting on the 1st of July. Demonstrators can pre-order it now. So if you have an interest in joining as a demonstrator and getting that awesome discount for yourself, let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. So again, Designer Series paper shares are posted. If you're interested in joining that, let me know. Don't forget about the retiring items on sale now. Go get them before they're gone. The buy one, get one kids sale going on. And I think that's about all. So have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I will plan to be live on my on my YouTube channel around 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday, and then live back here again around 2 o'clock Eastern Time next week, Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will chat soon.